Greetings, Jerry Ultimate Power Gamer, coming at you with my third Kings Award third edition battle report. I'm here with Bob. We never got a name for you, Bob. Bob. We're here with Bob. Bob is going to be bringing his Forces of Nature, and I've got, once again, my Empire of Dust. Bob has not played a third edition game yet, but he has got the rulebook and had a chance to skim it. What are your thoughts on the rulebook?
I thought it was pretty neat. I skimmed through the rules, just one half reading through it, and I like the way the hills have been modified with cover rules and charging, so that's nice. And then I like the individuals can't block as well as they used to block. But most of the rules seem kind of the same, with the same flavor, same idea as I'm used to, so I like that.
Well, we are going to be doing a 2250 battle report where we rolled up the smoke and mirrors scenario, and the special thing that we're doing here, since he brought his Forces of Nature, we decided to do a themed somewhat table. So we're going to be fighting in we said the forest of Jumanji. Ooh, yeah. Okay, copyright and all that, forget it. Anyway, so we're going to be back in a second. We're going to go over the table and show you our army, so be right back. Here we are. Okay, so Forces of Nature, what do you got? We have a lot of proxies before anybody says anything. So what do you have here, starting on the left?
All right, we start with Forest Shambler Horde, which we have 4 of, which are located here.
Okay.
In between them, we have some heroes. Here's a Forest Warden with Mace of Crushing.
Okay.
Forest Warden with Blade of Slashing.
Okay.
There's a Unicorn back here, not upgraded with wings, but he's got the Tome of Darkness, so he's a heal 5, surge 4 individual.
Okay.
We've got a Tree Herder right here. I didn't understand some of the rules up front, so he used to have the Sacred Horn, but now he has Blood of the Old King, because I thought Inspiring and Radiance of Life was an aura, but it's not. Here's a Druid that has the Shroud of the Saint.
Okay. And then that's another horde of
Shamblers. Another horde of Forest Shamblers.
Okay.
To complete the 4 of those. Here's a horde of Earth Elementals that'll try to hold down the center a bit.
Okay.
Here's 2 Greater Air Elementals. They both have lightning upgrades on them. And back here is a regiment of Scorchwings that used to be called Sylvan Talon Riders.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to go over the table. Right here in the very center of the table, we have a height 5 blocking piece of terrain, and then we have 6 forests on the table. They're all going to be height 6, and we have 5 hills on the table. They're all going to be height 2. The blue tokens are the bluff counters, and the way Smoke and Mirrors works is after you roll off for sides, you take turns placing bluff counters on your opponent's half of the table, and then at the end of each round, you each pick a bluff counter on your side of the table and you flip it over. So that's the table. See here, I'm going to go around and give you a look at the Empire of Dust. Okay, so we're going to start from the left for me too. This is basically the same army that I played for the last 2 battle reports. I've got my Skeleton Archer Regiment. They've got the Brew of Strength. I've got a Horde of Revenants. They've got the Fire Oil. Behind them is a regiment of Scavengers. Right there is my Revenant King on Great Worm, and he's got the Blood of the Old Kings item, which gives him 1-time Elite and Vicious. Here we've got 2 regiments of mummies. Behind that right there is the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh has the upgrade, I think it's called Eternal Guard, that allows the mummies to be elite in hand-to-hand combat. Right there, I didn't say, that's my Cursed Eye Priest. He's got heal and surge, and he also has a Conjurer's Staff. On the hill there, we've got 2 Enslaved Guardian Archer Hordes. Right next to the Pharaoh is another Scavenger Regiment, and right there is an Enslaved Guardian unit. So, we'll be right back after we roll to see who goes first. Okay, so here we are. The Forces of Nature, all these Forest Shamblers went ahead and used their scout ability, so they did an at the double to be right at the 12-inch line. Okay, so here we are. Empire of Dust opted to go first. I won the roll. Basically, these guys just came up. He came up to position. He's a Titan, so he's height 6, and I can see over the blocking terrain if I need to. All these guys basically just came up, positioned over here to watch this flank. Here, both Guardian Archer Hordes did a halt, and in the shooting phase, they shot and was able to put 12 wounds on this Forest Shambler Horde. I routed them, so these guys are gone. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide them out of the mix. And that's the end of Empire Dust turn 1. We'll be right back after the Forces of Nature turn 1. Okay, here we are at the end of the Forces of Nature turn 1. What happened over here?
All right, well, we had some movement of the Forest Shamblers up and some rotations.
3 Surgers here.
Yeah, there are 5 Surgers on the table. So we had the Forest Wardens and this Unicorn to surge them up, which
got
helped
a total
a little.
of 6 inches.
Yep, that was nice. This tree man backed up and allowed room for this guy to come forward
Surged
surged him a little bit. Unicorn, of course, moved up. This guy double paced to get up here.
Okay.
These air elementals, they know they can be seen by this flying Titan here. So they did move up to here, but they didn't allow room for him to charge in.
Okay.
But they did allow room for them to lightning bolt onto him.
And you did 2 wounds to him.
Yep, he was the only target they could see.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to maybe reinforce where the Forest Shamblers were taken out, but I didn't think I could make it, so I'm just going to kind of try to hold here with the Earth Elementals. And there was some shooting, lightning bolts over here that did 2 damage to the
yeah, we got that
guy. And
then you're...
then we revealed some tokens. I figured all your points is over here since you're over here, and that was a 1.
Okay, and over here flipped. He put a 1, that's a 1 too. So that's the end of turn 1. We'll be right back after the Empire Dust turn 2. Okay, so here we are, the end of the Empire Dust turn 2. These scavengers basically just flew up here to hide behind the hill, or kind of hide behind the hill. Here, the skeleton archer Cav moved up and took pot shots at this guy. I was able to do 1 wound. The Revenant King basically just moved up into position to threaten. These revenants came up here. The Cursed High Priest moved over and was able to heal the 2 damage off of him. Mummies just came up to position there. These guys just did some positioning to get ready to threaten over here. And both enslaved Guardian Archer hordes unloaded here and were able to do 6 wounds. Did have cover because I'm shooting over my own guy. Was able to do 6 wounds to that Forest Shambler horde, but was unable to rout them. So that's the end of the Empire Dust turn 2. All right, here we are, the end of the Forces of Nature turn 2. What happened over here?
All right, this Forest Warden stepped back a little bit to allow these Shamblers to step through, and this one moved up, and they moved up, and then there was some surging going on. They got a couple inches each, roughly.
Okay.
Over here it was a little more complicated. They needed some healing. They were back here. I did heal them with the Unicorn.
Yeah, to surge them up to be able to see.
Yeah, but then the way I moved, funny. I scooted this guy sideways for some reason, and then...
well, you did that because you have your special rule where
the Radiance of Life kind of kicked in and...
off of them and off of him.
Help that. But then I blocked the line of sight from the Druid to here, and so to heal them more, I surged them forward with the tree, and then was able to see them to heal them here.
Yeah.
I thought that was an okay trade-off.
Okay.
These Air Elementals, they backed up and used their nimbleness to pivot a little bit. There's still some within range of this scary threat over here. Earth Elementals stood pat, because I think if you charge in with one thing, I'll be able to swarm you and surge. These guys backed up a little bit to avoid being charged. They're a valuable resource for late game, so I didn't want to expose them. Okay,
and you did lightning bolts here
and
missed, and lightning bolts there.
Yeah,
and
missed there too.
We flipped over tokens. I flipped over a 1.
Yep.
And I flipped over a 1, so we kind of had the same thing going in mind as far as our strategy. So we'll be right back after the Empire Dust turn 3. Okay, here we are, the end of the Empire Dust turn 3. Basically, these scavengers just did a pivot at the double to come over here for positioning to hide behind the woods. These guys, the Skeleton Archer Cab, just did a sidestep. Also just did a sidestep. The Horde and the Mummies just moved up for positioning to threaten. Here, the Cursed High Priest just did a sidestep over that way. Both the Guardian Archers did a halt. One of the units shot without cover. The other unit shot with cover. I was able to get this Forest Shambler Horde up to 10, and I routed it, so this is gone. Just pull that out. Over here, the Guardians just did a sidestep. The Scavengers sidestep that way. The Pharaoh at the double to get in position there. And that's the end of my turn 3. Be right back after the Forces of Nature turn 3. Okay, so here we are at the end of the Forces of Nature turn 3. What happened, Bob, over here?
All right, well, I feel a lot weaker over here than I wanted to be with the shooting losses of 2 hordes. So from an overall point of view, I was going to try to hold all 3 of my tokens and try to hold your token over here. I don't think I have the power to do it anymore, so
I hope not.
I'm withdrawing to just make it a draw.
Okay.
So these guys moved up to be in cover from your shooters. I made sure to move some inspiring over here and some healing for later.
Okay.
Forest wardens are just hanging around, you know, so they can deploy to tokens
Take
later.
some tokens.
The tree man moved up here to also make this a harder crossing.
Okay.
Over here, the greater air elementals, along with these guys and these guys, they want to make this some slow going. They don't want to free up your dragon or your horseman or the carrion to sweep over this way. So they're trying to just set up a slow area for you and also be able to come back here if they need to reinforce.
Okay. And we both flipped. I flipped this one. It was a 0 like I thought. And he flipped that one, which was a 2 like he thought. Shooting, he did double lightning bolts on my Revenant King here and did 1 wound total. So that is the end of the Forces of Nature turn 3. We'll be right back after the Empire Dust turn 4. All right, here we are, the end of the Empire Dust turn 4. These scavengers just positioned behind the wood, still hiding so can't see. We did a sidestep here and positioned so that we could shoot. We were able to put 1 wound on the horde of earth elementals. He just did a sidestep over. Both these units moved up. The Cursed High Priest was able to heal here, healed the 1 wound that was on him. Over here, the both of the Guardian Archer hordes moved. With the pot shot rule, they shot and they were able to do, they shot the 4 Shamblers there in the woods, was able to do 2 wounds to them. The Scavenger Regiment just pivoted and moved over there for later turns. These guys just moved in position to be able to threaten and possibly do something. So these guys are there. That's it on my turn 4. We'll be right back after the Forces of Nature turn. Okay, here we are at the end of the Forces of Nature turn 4. What happened over here, Bob?
All right, well, I do need to hold this area a lot, and you're forming up to take care of it, but I did pull back a little bit to avoid a charge there so my tree man could get in position to make that charge more costly.
And you healed the wounds here?
Healed the wound there. These guys didn't do much. This greater air elemental turned and came over this way to take a lightning shot there.
Did 1 lightning wound
to the wound. I was hoping to get them off the table. This greater air just backed up.
And took a shot at the mummies?
Yep, he took a shot at the mummies.
But missed.
These Scorchers also
back.
Positioned a little bit and took a shot at the mummies. Got 1 wound on it. These guys are staying put, and this guy healed the wound on him.
Okay, we both flipped. I flipped this one. It was a 2 like I thought. He flipped that one. It was a 0 like he thought. So we'll be right back after turn 5 for the Empire. All right, here we are, the end of the Empire Dust turn 5. Well, these scavengers just basically moved up so that they'd have cover in case he tried to shoot at me, and in position to kind of hold that if I need to. This skeleton archer, they just did a pivot move, pivoted. They were able to see. They got 5 wounds on that large cavalry regiment there. Did 5 wounds and I wavered them, so that makes me happy. This just sidestepped to move to position and threaten. These guys just moved up into be positioned to 1 hold that token and threaten. Over on the other side of the table, both Guardian Archers did a halt move. They unloaded shots onto the Forest Shambler horde that was over there. I did 8 wounds. And then between my Cursed High Priest and my Pharaoh, I was able to surge the Mummy unit into the Forest Shambler horde, rout them, and pivoted to face a So after I routed them. The Scavengers just did a pivot to get out of line of sight. If he wants to come and shoot at me with lightning bolts, he's going to have to go over there to do it. Here, the Guardians, they just moved up and pivoted. They're threatening there. So we did a lot of advancing and putting some threats on people to make Bob have to have some choices. We'll be right back after the Forces of Nature turn. Here we are, the end of the Forces of Nature turn 5. Bob, very successful turn. What happened?
Oh, it was not so successful. These guys moved over and were
sidestepped to surge into
flank. While the tree herder went in there.
Charge the front.
Yep.
This guy charged them, did 2 wounds, routed them, so these guys are gone.
Right. These guys did stay, by the way.
They did 11 wounds total with this, and I was able to stay. Your air elemental here charged the flank of my enslaved guardian archer horde here, took him out, and turned to face like that. New thing in 3rd edition, you don't have to, at the end of combat, you just pivot, and you don't have to stay an inch away. So he just pivoted to look that way, so he's threatening that stuff there. Over there, his Scorchers pivoted and moved backwards, and then were healed by the Druid. The Earth Elementals just moved backwards.
Yep, that guy's heading that way.
Yeah, and that guy's heading that way. So that's it for turn 5. Oh, and the last flip.
Token?
That's, oh no, it's a 0. What's this? Oh no, it's a 0. Oh no. All right, so we'll be right back after the Empire Dust turn 6. Okay, here we are, the end of the Empire Dust turn 6. Well, these scavengers just moved up a little bit and pivoted, so they're still in difficult terrain to be within 3 inches of that token. These Revenants just moved up and pivoted here to look this way. I'm steadily holding that 2-point token there. I did a triple charge here. The Horse Archers were in the flank, both the Revenant King and the Mummies in the front. I was able to do 14 wounds and routed them, so they're gone. Revenant King back an inch so that these guys could pivot to make sure they were still in the front, not the flank. Over here, I charged the flank of the Air Elemental. I did 11 wounds, but wasn't able to break them. Here, I triple charged. I did the flank with the... I did a counter charge with the Mummies and did a charge in the flank with the Enslaved Guardians here and the Cursed High Priest there. I got Mr. Man up to 13, but I didn't roll high enough to break him, so everybody's just engaged there. We'll be right back after the Forces of Nature turn 6. Okay, here we are, the end of the Forces of Nature turn 6, and by God, it was bloody. Yeah, let's see. I'm just going to do this. You did a double charge in the flank, charge in the front on this Enslaved Guardian unit here. You got them up to 12 and routed them, so they were gone. Turned to face, sidestepped and turned to face like that. Here, you were able to disengage, move over, and get surged into the flank of the Mummy unit here. With a counter charge here, you got them up to 20, routed them, so they're gone. They just turned to face that way. He moved forward. That guy sidestepped to do that. This guy just turned backwards to go over and claim that token. Over there, he did an at the double with his Scorchers and pivoted to look like that. Roll a die real quick and let's see if we go to turn 4 or 7.
Here we are.
No, we end right there, so we'll be right back after we add up points. Okay, wow. Yeah. So that was a very nail-biter tactical game at the end. We didn't go to turn 7. It ended up being 4-4. Total draw. Your thoughts on the game?
I think the scenario was interesting because you kind of want to line up across from where you put all your tokens, and so it was kind of clear where each person put it. We ended up on diagonals. That was a fun movement.
Even though it could have been set up where I could have called your bluff and put over here, based on how I wanted to deploy, I just said that's okay, whatever it is, and I was hoping I could come over here and deal with this part of the tail, my left flank, if I could. There were a couple things that had happened in this. I like the people are going to comment because I actually have heals in the deployment zone here. The nice thing about 3rd edition, I will say, for shooting, in 2nd edition, if you were on the ground shooting up over a unit, you had to pay a cover penalty. They got rid of that. Now, shooting down and up the hill, as long as you're a difference of 3, there's no penalty, so that helps.
I like that.
I like that. And being on the hill doesn't necessarily give you that big of an advantage because based off of how high the hill is, you still have to have a 3 height clearance to shoot over the stuff in front of you, because just being on a height, whatever hill, if the height's equal to something else, it doesn't automatically cancel out. So here we have a lot more terrain normally than I would here. Just wanted to keep it up. The flow. I
felt the gameplay was smoother by staying engaged during melee.
Yes.
You didn't have to spend that extra time scooting everyone away, putting them back.
I like that. Nice. Well, our games are always very, there's always a lot of thinking involved whenever we play each other. So, the early opening turns, it looked like the Empire Dust was kind of commanding things. I got a lot of nice, lucky lucky rolls, dice rolls, and rotted some of your units with shooting that I probably shouldn't have. But, you know, it's a game based on dice. Sometimes they're with you, sometimes they're not.
I think right after turn 4, I started playing for the draw. So that's why all the resources came off of your 1 point over there, over to this area.
Okay. Well, it was a good game. Smoke and Mirrors, not a bad scenario. I still like Fool's Gold better, but Smoke and Mirrors, not bad. We'll have to do another one again soon. So, thanks for watching. Questions, comments, love to hear them. Until next time, bye.